All right, folks, welcome on back here this Tuesday, 2/22/22. You knew I had to say that. Great to see all of us live inside Cyber Group, including Mark, Andrea, Chuck, Mike C. Great to see everybody there, loud and clear it looks from all. And hey, if you're joining us back again on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, welcome on back. And if you were sticking with me from the morning session, our live Traders Talk workshop, we host that every week, every Tuesday inside our live trading room. Hey, we held that on social media today. We like to do that a couple of times across the calendar year. So for anyone that took part in that live workshop, I appreciate you. Thank you for sticking along. But great to see everybody right now. Let's hop right into it, folks. INDO right now trying to make another push back up. And with the way it's moving already for the afternoon, it's hard for us to not put this just on our watch list to begin, right? So we'll do just that, INDO. But there is a lot more to it, folks. We did talk about this in full, basically, from A to Z inside our Traders Talk workshop. So, the one thing I will make mention of is one of the big prints that we saw on the tape, the time and sales, upon this stock reopening up off of one of its halts. Well, that was at $7.50, one of the opening halt prints that I talk about. All right. Well, it ended up coming down here after we finished up Traders Talk. It did not hold support at first. It broke under it. Well, it took a while, but just recently we ended up seeing this make a beautiful slingshot where it broke under that 750 price right back over. And for right now, like I just said, and trying to make another run back up to the highs here. So even with the way it's pushing right now, another healthy pop like this, it may even get halted. So definitely, this thing looks great. The INDO right now trying to make a move up here for the afternoon. We had a couple of other stocks that we ended up doing really well on. I do want to check in on the Dwac trade, though. DWAC, I was really hopeful for a squeeze up going into the late morning, the early afternoon. Just didn't get it. It just failed to really cleanly hold over 90 bucks. It was holding over it for a bit until it didn't, right? If it's not breaking higher, there's only one other way the stock is going to go. So with that, we ended up seeing it snap back under 90. And actually, right now, as we're talking, it's trying. Keyword there is trying. No guarantee it's going to make the squeeze up here that we wanted from the morning, that we wanted from the early afternoon. It simply hasn't given us anything yet, really, at least in relation to the squeeze that we had in the pre-market early this morning. So, hey, I'm hopeful that this Dwac trade can make another nice pop for us. I feel like if it's going to do it, it needs to really do it like live right now or very, very soon off the 90 level. Fun looks like some buying came in on the fun trade just a second ago here at 2:26 Eastern time. Nice spike. We ended up seeing a ton of yellow. Wow, look at that at $3, 26, 27, 28. Seems just someone like ended up just smashing the offer right there. And for what it's worth, that is a lot of buying, but we haven't seen anything since, right? The stock hasn't taken off yet, if at all. Definitely keep an eye on the DWAC trade, because if this pops, then my assumption would be that fun will go with it. I can't say exactly the same on CFVI today. We talked about this stock in the morning meeting. I was more particular about the fun trade, funware that is, and the DWAC, right? This one is tied with the others, but at least, this morning in pre-market, it wasn't looking as great. So I'm actually pretty happy we avoided this trade here. It was actually shortable. So for what it's worth, it ended up being actually a hell of a short. But for right now, though, we'll kind of be looking more for a bounce back up on the DWAC and fun trades here. I don't mind putting those back on our watch list. What I'd like to do first, though, folks, for Kathleen and Chuck, Mike, Grant, all of us live inside the trading room at least, I'm going to just go right from top to bottom. We have the INDO on our list already to begin. Hopefully that still, will be a nice healthy push by the end of this meeting. We have MTOR. We move away from this one. It's a buyout, so it's not going to be worth our time. And we'll keep it going from this point, folks. The OCGN trade, we'll briefly talk about this one. We did talk about this in Traders Talk. Essentially, it ended up bouncing off of the 380 level, crashed under it and right back over it. Made for a beautiful slingshot at the time throughout the morning. But most notably, it ended up just holding big resistance now as support. $4.20 was a key resistance that we were watching inside Traders Talk. And I was saying, it might take a little while. It might look to kind of just false break it a few times. It really didn't. From where we left off, it popped above 420 really well, held it as support, moved up for about a 25 to 30 cent move. But right now, if this wants to make another new high before the end of the day, it definitely needs to get going here. But it already held support at 420. Resistance did turn into support here. So, maybe by the end of this meeting, if there's another pop up on OCGN, I wouldn't mind putting this back on our list. For right now, it kind of seems like after this bounce off support, maybe a top building here around 433, 432 ish. So I'm not fully sold on this trade just yet. As I say that, it's trying to eke back up on this last bar. So, we'll see. We'll come back to this at the end, folks. I would have zero issue adding this just to the watch list if it proves itself a little bit better here. All right, so we'll keep it going otherwise. HUSA, flat, not a whole lot happening right now. The IRNT, I guess you could say this is kind of close to its highs, but flat. Hope everyone took my advice and did not follow any of these buyouts here into the open. A complete waste of time. ESPR, nice gradual move here today. I was going to say choppy, but it seemed relatively steady off the lows, roughly from 385 up to nearly 450, topped off at 443 earlier. It's trying to move back up, but it's not really trading a whole lot of volume per minute, about 2,500 shares per minute. So not particular about that. Let's see what else we got here. Couple of familiar names, at least. KAVL, another run back up on the KAVL trade. We ended up seeing this back from like 2 weeks ago, or two to 3 weeks ago. Really, that's when it first started in the beginning of February. Ended up making this beautiful run. It was like 80 cents, 75 cents when it first popped, and ever since, essentially, there's been no looking back. Right now, trying to make a move back up towards the highs here. A couple of bigger orders. So I was about to call this out here at 285 and say, hey, that's a pretty big iceberg order. I look down, and well, it's not just this that you have to concern yourself with. It's also the 28,000 here at 280, 23,000 roughly at 278. So if this wants to make one big push into the afternoon, it's got a lot of volume for it to break through. It doesn't hurt us putting the KVL on our main list. I'll do that to begin. I don't mind adding KVL here. Definitely a great stock that we're pretty familiar with just over the last 2 to 3 weeks. Get API, it's at the highs, but trading crap volume right now. Not really a whole lot happening there in terms of volume. IMRA, pass. AKBA, it's like watching the grass grow here right now. It's looking all right in the sense of the chart. This DTSS was just a fail. We had a feeling this would happen here by the end of Traders Talk. Just to say, at least 285 was a strong top that we identified. There was a pretty big iceberg order. And, in terms of just looking at your cyber clock, looking at reversal time, we typically anticipate 10:30 to be that reversal time, that reversal hour. Well, it topped off right here. But going into the end of Traders Talk, at least we saw it begin to make another push up. It failed to cleanly break over 285. So with that, just pulled back. Let's see here. What else do we have? We got Roku, a little expensive, but up over 9.5% right now. Looks like they're trying to make the dead cat bounce, trying to fill the gap essentially from the daily chart. Nice recovery from Roku, I reckon. Let's see if there's anything more within our price range. If I do commit to a more expensive stock, it would just be the Dwac, I feel. HL, nah. Krispy Kreme donut, it's up 8.5%. Not too particular about it though. Kind of like a middle of the road stock. All right, let's see what else we got on the losers list here on the other side. Bunch of stuff down, bunch of stuff that dropped off at the market earlier. Probably not down as much as these at least, but let's see what else we got. We got Fix, FIXX, shortable at least. It's not doing much right here. We'll pass on this. KPTI, wow, this one ended up making a nice drop off shortly after the open, made lower highs, then effectively broke under support off 11, held 11 as resistance really well here heading into the mid-morning. For right now, hey, I kind of put this in the same group as like the other sideless stocks, kind of just the middle of the road stock right now. It's not nearly as close to the lows as I would want it to be. It's not near the highs of the day, to be honest. Perhaps it can make a higher high off this consolidation later on. It's just tradable. If you did well on this stock earlier today, I'm sure you would be more gravitated to follow it here for the close, and rightfully so. I want to see if there's anything else looking even better. And Mark ended up doing pretty nicely on the TPX trade. He told us prior to us beginning the afternoon meeting, he wrote in the trading room, he said he was short on TPX right from 29.50 essentially. He got out with a 21-cent profit. So, hey, nice catch from Mark. For right now, this stock, obviously is pretty close to the lows of the day. It's shortable right now. I don't know if it's at all-time lows. I doubt it is, but I'll check. Yeah, it's not at all-time lows, but this thing ended up making a huge run up back from the beginning of the pandemic, tanked from like 25 down to 5 essentially, then moved all the way up to 50, essentially a 10x right there. Hasn't had a great month though so far, this TPX trade clearly. All right, so TPX looks good for right now. I would assume for there to be a big support level on this trade right off of $29. I don't have my book map, my level 4 open for this specific trade, but this one looks good as a short. RLX, I think this might even be breaking all-time lows. It is, or approaching it at least. All-time low back from January 28th, roughly off of 284 there. So still a little ways to all-time low territory. It's just really flat right now in the intraday. So, hey, I'm not too interested in this stock, really. ETRN's trading a lot of volume per minute, about 40,000 shares a minute roughly, and that's not really off of one kind of funky, erratic volume spike. That seems like a nice flow here over the last 30 or so minutes. So I actually like that a lot more compared to some of the others that we've gone through, at least. You know what? ETRN, I'll kind of put it near the bottom of the list. I do like the INDO more, KAVL more, TPX as a short more. But as far as just a really tradable stock, I think this is great, this ETRN. And Canon here today just dropped down to 5, broke under and over it just now. BZUN, it's kind of at the lows, but really flat. The Neo trade I was doing really well on from earlier today. Most recently, I ended up going break even on a short right from 2150. It was really breaking under 2150 pretty nicely. I was assuming it was going to snap down a lot lower, but right around the same time as we started this meeting, I know the president was speaking. We ended up seeing a small little, inch back up within the market. So with that, we're seeing, like the Neo trade begin to squeak up, the AMC trade beginning to squeak back up temporarily. SOFI, we follow this stock, of course, as well on a day-to-day, not as much today at least, but, SOFI making relatively the same type of move. Ford. So, hey, we'll kind of just keep these on the side list for right now. Nothing really looking that great in either direction aside from what we've covered. So, folks, if there's anything else up, down, left, right, more than 5% that you would want me to check out here quickly, definitely let me know. Type it in the chat board here. I did not fully commit to Dwac and Fun yet. They're not officially on the list, so to say, yet. It's more hope than anything, right? It's more hope of seeing this begin to make a nice pop by 3 or 3:30. I was saying just before, I felt as if if this was going to make a move, it should be happening much sooner than later. I reckon as long as it's holding over 90 here, then we're in good grace. But if this breaks under 90 support coming up, then I would just write this off. I would write this off. I would write the fund trade off should that happen. So I'll kind of tag both of them at least on the back end of our watch list. Chuck says YNDX has business in Russia, a little bit pricier, he said. He says it's hard to find the levels. If it's hard to find the levels, then I'm not trading it. You know what I mean? Little pop up and spike down, but for any time a student, not to say anyone's name, and Chuck's been with us for a long time. Chuck knows what he's doing. Chuck's a great trader in our room. Just to say at least, anytime just I see a general comment from any student, if it says like low volume and they call it out, I'm not looking at it. If it's hard to find levels, I'm not really going to check it out. So, flash little pop up here, but yeah, I'm going to pass on this for right now, Chuck. It's not even the price. This is, at least more within our price range compared to Dwac. But if it's hard to find levels, that is a huge turnoff. All right. I think that just about wraps it up, though, folks. I got nothing across social media, Facebook Live or YouTube, and that's A-OK by me. That means I think that we kind of did our homework here. There is one last one that's popping up on Benzynga. I don't know if the levels are easy to find or not, but we'll look at FSLY. Just a moment ago, it broke a high of the day. It's not up or down that 5% that I asked for, but this stock's been on our watch list dating back to Thursday of last week. We ended up seeing a big gap down, and it continued to pull back that morning off of earnings. Um, you know what? I do like this as a tradable stock, kind of in the same category as like an ETRN, which is down, big. It's still trading a lot of volume per minute. This FSLY is not up or down a whole lot percentage wise, but, it just broke a new high a moment ago. It's trading about 16, 17,000 shares a minute. Decent volume right now. I assume that'll pick up by 3 o'clock. I'll put FSLY just on the very back of our watch list here. All right, folks, I think that just about wraps it up for me for right now. For all of us on Facebook Live, YouTube, Facebook Live, I appreciate you sticking with me each and every day, each and every afternoon. From Mitch, really quick at the horn, we have Mitch Connor joining us on YouTube today. Really quick for all of us on social media today that would like to just send over any questions right to me. I have no problem addressing any questions or comments that you may have, so feel more than free to send an email right on over to josh@ctutrading.com. That's my handle right there. It'll take me about a day or so for me to write back. But for Mitch, he was asking about KPTI as a short. It's dropping off quite nicely right now. We were talking about this during the middle of the meeting saying, is it possible for it to make a higher high or break out of the consolidation? Absolutely. And in that case, that could be a decent little long trade. I'd said from the top KPTI was just trading a lot of volume right now. And well, I'll tell you what, this is making a much better drop off right now. Perhaps this could be a pretty good short into the close now at this stage. So I like this. Good call from Mitch. I'll add this to our main watch list for right now. So in total, that makes 2, 4, 6, 8 stocks to work with in total. I feel like that's as good as we can get, folks. I don't want to add another 10, 12 stocks to our watch list here. Of course, there could be some other shorts to work with as the market, moves into the close, like, NEO we could follow again. The AMC trade was a great short from earlier today. So there's plenty else to go around. But, hey, if you're someone that's having a tough time trying to find your footing here, if you're someone that thinks it's, pretty hard to follow everything at once, don't just flip-flop to a completely random stock that's not on this watch list, folks, unless if it's one that you personally do extremely well on a day-to-day basis. So for right now, I'm not going to be following the YNDX just yet, Chuck. If you're in it and want to make a point, make a profit, go on ahead. But, otherwise, though, I'm going to stick to the stocks that we already just scanned for, the stocks I'm going to put on the watch list: INDO, KVL, the TPX, the ETRN, FSLY, KPTI, and then the fun and Dwac trades. All right. But folks, aside from that, I'll be back on the mic right at 3:30 Eastern time. I'm going to jump onto a coaching call right now. I'll talk to you folks soon. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.